Part 8. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 71. Chapter 71. Do you know that you can easily be trafficked like this? Feng family. Fusu, what a godlike friend. Feng Ling glanced at him. When did she admit that this dog was her friend? Is she such an easy friend? Feeling the girl's gaze, the man slowly turned his head and opened his thin lips. I asked Wen Xiao to order ice cream in Iceland and take you to eat it. Good friend. Fusu. Little ancestor, do you know that you can easily be trafficked like this? Fusu looked at Yeqinghan and Feng Ling's leaving figures, feeling very upset. Feng Ling passed by Feng Yuan and said in a very calm tone, take good care of grandpa. You kept the matter from him and gave him random medicine. When grandpa gets better, I will ask him to make the decision himself. What do you mean? Feng Yuan looked at her in disbelief. You mean my medicine damaged my father? Feng Ling, he is my father, how could I give him random medicines? That old Chinese doctor's medical skills are famous far and wide, and you can't compare with them. I think it's you who harmed your grandfather and you want to throw dirty water on me. Yao Lang couldn't stand listening to Feng Yuan's noisy voice and blocked Feng Yuan's sight. Miss Feng, accepting Feng Kang is for Miss Feng Ling's sake. Miss Feng Ling is Ling's distinguished guest, that's our fluid guests from the institute. The medicine that Miss Feng Ling gave Mr. Feng was a new medicine that Ling personally researched. It is not yet on the market, but you should know that once this medicine is on the market, the value of your Feng family will not be worth that medicine. What, do you need me to explain more? The medicine made by Ling himself, and the so-called old Chinese medicine doctor whose name I have never heard of, it is clear at a glance which one is right and which one is wrong. Feng Yuan stood there blankly, shaking her head, as if unwilling to accept the facts. No. Impossible, how is it possible? Yao Lang, from now on, the Feng family will not accept any business except for my grandfather. Feng Ling had no intention of explaining to Feng Yuan. The Feng family has long been a thing of the past to her. 3 years ago, it might have still had a place in her heart, but now. Feng Ling lowered her head and smiled softly. She didn't know whether she was mocking the Feng family or herself. Let's go, you can handle the rest. Yes. The demon wolf stood aside respectfully, leaning slightly. Yeqinghan looked at him deeply, without saying anything, and followed the girl to the Rolls-Royce not far away. What are you doing here? In the Rolls-Royce, Yeqinghan looked at Fusu's pretty face, and her face became completely grim. Don't you have your own car? Oh, the car broke down. Fusu looked like there was nothing I could do. Yeqinghan clenched his fists, suddenly wanting to punch this man. Little ancestor, you are not going to let me sleep alone in the wilderness. Fusu blinked, trying to make himself look particularly pitiful, trying to arouse the sympathy of the little ancestor. Ice cream. Suddenly, an annoying sound sounded. Following this were the heartless words of the little ancestor, I think the wilderness is quite suitable for you. Boom. Snapped. Opening the door, closing the door, Fusu was left outside. Before he could stand up, the Rolls-Royce sprayed exhaust gas in his face and sped away. Fusu. I'll your uncle Yeqinghan. Yeqinghan was in a particularly bright mood after driving away Fusu, and felt that the wildflowers on the roadside had become more beautiful. Feng Ling sat next to him, not even looking at the valuable Rolls-Royce. The Battle of Glory event will end in 3 days, and she must prevent anyone from seeking power and usurping the throne during these 3 days. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 72. Chapter 72. I just want to talk about life with you. The girl's gestures for playing games are particularly beautiful. Her fingers cooperate with each other. Perhaps because they are slender, there is no sign of fighting on a narrow screen. She lowered her head and played the game very seriously, as if everything in the world was isolated from her. Ye King Han knew that Feng Ling was not just an ordinary senior high school student, but he did not expect that she was a maze, and the more she walked, the more surprises she got. Feng Ling completed today's mission, and Wen Xiao had already driven the car to Lingdi. Feng Ling looked at the gold-plated plaque and twitched her mouth fiercely, then looked at Ye King Han with doubts in her eyes. Food has been delivered to where I live. Feng Ling. The point is not that, the point is, why does this man also live in Lingdi? This shock lasted until Feng Ling and Ye King Han walked to his house. 606-8, very good, her house is 606-6, just opposite the door. Sometimes, Feng Ling had to sigh that the fate of this world is so wonderful. Wen Xiao saw her looking at the opposite door and thought it was the little girl who was curious, so he explained very thoughtfully, I have already inquired about the one opposite. It is an old woman who lives there. She hasn't moved here yet. I guess she won't move here for a while, you can rest assured. Old woman, Feng Ling felt her fist harden. But Wen Xiao didn't understand yet and simply nodded, yes, an old, ugly woman with body odor. Old, ugly, and have body odor? She has traveled around the world for so many years, and Wen Xiao is the first to use this word to describe her. Feng Ling put on a dangerous smile and looked quite untouchable. Wen Xiao, as a lawyer, do you know what the crime is for spreading false news wantonly and slandering others? Wen Xiao's hair was trembling. Why did he feel that something was wrong? However, it seems that he didn't say anything wrong. Why does the little girl feel so angry? Feng Ling, but, I don't want to talk about law with you now, I just want to talk about life. Boom. Wen Xiao's eyes hurt, and he felt like there were many little stars on his head, twinkling and shining. Grass. The little girl is indeed a little girl, but she is still so violent. Thinking of this, Wen Xiao heard a voice in his ear, like the of death coming, so, in your eyes, I am an old, ugly, and body-stinking old woman. Lawyer Wen, can't you see that my image is so bad in your eyes? Wen Xiao, it's terrible. He raised his head mechanically, and even heard the rattling sound of the bones in his neck. It's quite painful. So, the little girl is the resident next door? So the flattery he has been doing for so long has finally ended? Wen Xiao was about to cry but had no tears. If there was a hole at this time, he would really like to get into it. He tilted his head and looked at Ye King Han, wanting to ask for help. Ye King Han slowly raised her hand and touched his head lovingly, be good, next time your brain doesn't work, talk less and drink more water. Wen Xiao, no more love. My driver is not very smart and gets nervous from time to time, don't be surprised. Feng Ling nodded in agreement, don't worry, it won't happen. Do you think I've dealt with him in these years? Wen Xiao, who was wiping tears silently, squatted in the corner, thinking of those 3 difficult years as a lawyer, and suddenly despaired of the world. The little girl doesn't like him, Brother Han despises him, he is simply the most miserable lawyer in the world. Icelandic ice cream has always been famous far and wide. Feng Ling had eaten it once before and could not forget the taste. This time, Ye King Han ordered a gourmet feast for her, which completely satisfied Feng Ling's appetite. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 73. Chapter 73. The heart is darker. Ye King Han doesn't like sweets, so today's dinner was completely based on Feng Ling's preferences. Children are very cute when eating, with their cheeks bulging up and down, like a little squirrel, giving them a very cute look. Feng Ling doesn't even know that she often does things that only children can do, such as folding unpacked packages into the shape of a heart. For example, when eating, you like to poke your food with chopsticks. For example, when encountering something happy, your eyes will unconsciously squint. Ye King Han looked at the girl quietly, took a bite of the ice cream, and suddenly felt that the ice cream was not that bad after all. The joint entrance examination is next week. Ye Fengling stuffed a mouthful of ice cream into her mouth and spoke in a slurred voice, "Don't worry, I will definitely kill everyone this time. I want your promise from young master yet." In the words of Sister Huoyu, this is called black eating black. Ye King Han has a purpose for her, but she is not innocent either. She and Ye King Han, it is not certain who will lose or win. If you don't make money, you are a fool. This man has so much money, he cannot take advantage of her small coffers. Ye King Han looked at Feng Ling's happy expression and knew she was thinking of something bad. In the past, if someone set their sights on him, he would never survive tomorrow, but as for Feng Ling, Ye King Han raised his eyebrows. Well, it seems that he enjoys this feeling of being remembered. Wen Xiao watched the two people having a candlelight dinner warmly, while he was holding a cold lunch box alone, which was quite sad. Sometimes, he also wonders whether it is the right decision to help his brother Han chase this girl. A brother Han is already quite dark, but that girl. Wen Xiao shivered. Why did he feel that his heart was darker? 3 days later, Feng Kang was in good health, and the demon wolf allowed Feng's family to visit him in the ward. In the words of the demon wolf, those who have finally been rescued cannot be angered to death by a few words from brainless people, otherwise the manpower, material and financial resources they have consumed belong to whom? Where's Lingling, is she here? The first thing Feng Kang asked when he saw Feng Yuan and others was Feng Ling. I don't know why, but he seemed to have heard his granddaughter's voice when he was unconscious. A hint of helplessness appeared on Feng Jiayuan's face. Dad, your granddaughter wants to kill you. If we hadn't delivered her in time, you would have gone. Don't mention that murderer. How many times have I told you that she has no good intentions? Miss Feng, the medicine that stopped your father's heart was given to him by you, so don't be too mean. Feng Kang is surrounded by nurses from the FL Institute 24 hours a day. Hearing Feng Jiayuan's shameless words, he couldn't help but fight back. Their whole institute is holding the princess in love. If she is slandered like this, if she doesn't fight back, she is not a member of the FL Institute. I'm talking to my dad, why are you interrupting? Miss Feng Ling is a distinguished guest of the FL Research Institute. Naturally, we cannot allow her to be slandered. Miss Feng, what I said is the truth. Why are you angry? The nurse said as she changed the bottle of water for the old man. Originally, the old man could wait for his body to be fully recovered before the surgery, but you decided to cross the line and turn the operating field into a battlefield of life and death. Do you think surgery is easy? You extended the operation that could be done by an adult in 3 hours to 8 hours. Before we said anything, you started slandering our people. What's the point? The nurse finished her rant in one breath and sat down next to the old man without even looking at Feng Yuan. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 74. Chapter 74. Brain and Body, only one can live. Feng Yuan was trembling with anger, but there was nothing she could do. After Feng Kang's surgery was successful, she tried to ask someone to get rid of the FL Research Institute. But when people heard her name, they rejected her outright and said she had a brain problem. I invited several people in a row, and they all got the same reaction. Feng Yuan is not stupid. She knows that there must be a very deep relationship network behind this FL Research Institute, otherwise this result would not be possible. But what kind of bad luck did that girl from Fenglu have to know someone from the FL Research Institute? Dad, don't support her nonsense, the person I invited. Okay, get out. Dad. I told you to get out, can't you hear me? He was old, but he was very clear-headed. He could see clearly who was good and who was bad. This Feng family, except for the girl, is already full of moths and will not last long. Feng Kang closed his eyes, and for the first time, fatigue appeared on his old face. Feng Shuang has been in a very bad mood these days. Ever since she returned to school, she has been getting a lot of strange looks. Some of her suitors are now avoiding her. Instead, Feng Ling became the new school bully of Lingyang High School. Throughout the day, she had heard the word Feng Ling from others more than once. Feng Shuang suppressed her anger and forced herself to calm down. She has not lost yet, and there is still the joint entrance exam. As long as she passes the joint entrance examination, she can still be the goddess of academic dominance in everyone's eyes. Shan, how have you been studying in class 14 recently? It's okay, it's definitely better than the crane tail anyway, Li Yishan responded absently. Even though it was Feng Shuang's aunt who said those words that day, she felt a little distant in her heart. Moreover, her family's property had problems these days and she lost a lot of money, so she couldn't help but think about Feng Ling. Li Yishan scratched her hair, feeling a little irritated. Feng Shuang was thinking about her own things and didn't notice anything unusual about Li Yishan. She just said, "That's good. The loser will always be the loser and can only become a stepping stone on her road to success." Feng Shuang squeezed the pen and continued to write and draw on the test paper. Grade 3, Class 9. Ever since everyone knew that Ye Qinghan was the young master of the Ye family, they felt an extra layer of fear towards him. Who doesn't know that the three words Ye Qinghan are the incarnation of the devil? And reality also proved to them that Ye Qinghan is indeed quite a devil. Ah, help! Xian held a test paper almost as thick as a book in his hand and let out a miserable wail. "Teacher Ye, please let me go." The whole class of 35 people looked eagerly at the man in front of them, barely able to express their sincerity. "It will kill you to finish so many papers in 1 week, right?" Yes. Although they have accepted the challenge, they are not yet at the point where they are willing to work hard just to learn. Ye Qinghan pushed up his glasses and smiled, "You can only live one brain and one body." Everyone. Feng Ling was munching ice cream in the back, showing rare concern for the physical and mental health of the children. "Teacher Ye, aren't you afraid of their sudden death?" Everyone nodded wildly, yes. "You will die suddenly if you do this." "Ye Qinghan, it doesn't matter. From today onwards, we will all live in the school. I have asked the principal to prepare the rooms. I will have people watching you 24 hours a day to ensure that you eat well, drink well, and sleep well every day, and then study well." The man tilted his head slightly and his eyes fell on the girl who was eating ice cream unscrupulously. "If something goes wrong, I will ask someone from the FL Institute to come and treat it in person. I will pay for the diagnosis and treatment." End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 75. Chapter 75. I feel very good. Feng Ling raised her eyebrows. The medical fee sounds like a good 3 words. She looked at Ye Qinghan, and the man was also looking at him. How should I put it, for some reason, she always had the illusion that this man wanted to give her money. She doesn't want it, it seems that she is too fake. Sister Huo said, "You must be sincere." "I feel very good." Everyone, they don't feel very good. The two big guys hit it off right away in class, leaving a pile of test papers as big as a hill and walking away, which was quite cool. Fusu looked at the elementary school student questions on the table and twitched his mouth. He didn't know why, but he always felt that Ye Qinghan was targeting him. Why did he have twice as many test papers as others? 1 add 1 equal 2 is simple, but I can't bear to make more than 50 servings of 1 add 1 equal 2. That would make everyone crazy. Okay. Fusu wanted to quit, but in the end he picked up the pen and did it because he couldn't defeat the devil. That man's patience was only for his little ancestors, not for commoners like them. On the day of the joint entrance examination, the atmosphere in Lingyang High School was extremely serious. Because the winning school has to go to the provincial competition, the supervision is extremely strict. Yelimo was very nervous today. Although Feng Ling helped her make the final sprint, she didn't know where she found a paper for her to do. But she was still afraid of dragging down the class. Lingling, can I do it? People who have been taught by me can't say no. Feng Ling raised her hand and pulled Yelimo into her arms. Her voice was seductive. Be good, take the test well, and do everything I teach you correctly. Remember, you have to do everything right, otherwise. Feng Ling smiled sinisterly, and pulled out a pile of test papers from somewhere and placed them in front of Yelimo. This is your fate. Yelimo pouted, her eyes were red, and she looked like she was being bullied by a bully at the same table. Well, her Lingling and teacher Ye were bad examples, and they would threaten others. The boy with 1000-degree glasses and extremely flat facial features passed by and laughed out loud when he heard the conversation between Feng Ling and Yelimo. After seeing Feng Ling's gaze, he waved his hand and said, "It's nothing, I just heard some funny things." It is a joke of the year for an old person to teach another person who is only slightly better than the old person but not much better. Learning requires brains. What's the use of doing more test papers? It's just a desperate struggle. It happened that Feng Shuang came to take the exam with a pencil case. The boy said something specifically when Feng Shuang passed by. If you had promised to let class 1 help you, you wouldn't have been in such a miserable state. Why do you have to save face and suffer? Now it seems that the tail end of the crane must be the tail end of the crane. The bet is already doomed before it even begins. Xie Feng, don't say that. It's a good thing that my sisters are willing to learn. Feng Shuang stopped, grabbed the boy, then turned to Feng Ling, and said thoughtfully, "Sister, it's okay if you don't want to bet. After all, we are all classmates, and there is really no need to be so tit for tat. As long as you apologize to everyone, I believe everyone can understand it." She stood in the center, surrounded by countless eyes, with a gentle look on her face. Look, in a school like Lingyang High School, grades are always number 1, and nothing else matters. As long as she steps on Feng Ling's achievements, Feng Ling will always be able to crawl under her feet. Feng Shuang raised her head, her face showing the superiority of a top student. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 76. Chapter 76. Just one word, cool. Take the exam well. Feng Ling raised her head and looked at the time. There were 10 minutes left for the exam. She stood up and passed Feng Shuang with her pencil case. This sentence will be returned to you. With Ye Qinghan and her here, if they fail one more time, they will have to stop living. They are so stupid and living is a waste of food. Feng Ling sneered. The candidates in class 9 of grade 3 were excited. Looking at the wrong questions in their hands, they felt that they could continue to struggle for a while. Don't know what's good and what's wrong. Feng Shuang didn't stop Feng Ling. Feng Ling didn't refuse their bet, which was exactly what she wanted. She would cry when the results came out. Teacher is here, let's prepare for the exam. Feng Shuang gave Xie Feng an encouraging look. Come on. Don't worry, goddess, I'll do my best, Xie Feng secretly encouraged himself. I admire Feng Shuang more and more in my heart. A goddess is a goddess. She can maintain her elegance even when she encounters an unreasonable person like Feng Ling. He gave Yelimo a hard look, then left with his head held high. He must learn from the goddess, and he should not look at such scumbags who cannot be saved. Yelimo, it's inexplicable. The person who invigilated the exam in Feng Ying's class was Zhou Ji. Before the exam started, she handed out the test papers only after she emphasized repeatedly not to cheat. Fenling took the test paper and glanced at the questions. What can I say? What she and Ye Qinghan taught them was the addition and subtraction of 10-digit numbers, but this question asked about the addition and subtraction of single-digit numbers. Too simple and without technical content. Fenling waved her hand, wrote a name like a dragon and a phoenix on the test paper, and then fell asleep on the table. Lingyang High School has a tradition that the teacher will remind her of the time half an hour before the exam ends, so she can just do it at that time. Who told Xiao Wang that she was not allowed to hand in the paper in advance? She couldn't smash other people's signs. After all, she was given 500,000. Thinking about the money she had received from her coffers a few days ago, Fenling instantly felt very sleepy. Even when she was sleeping, she always felt like someone was staring at her, with hot eyes, more than one. Zhou was originally planning to keep an eye on Fenling and not give her a chance to write cheat sheets, but who knew that she would fall asleep on the table as soon as she got the test paper. Zhou smiled sarcastically, a poor student is a poor student, no matter how he saves him, it will be useless. She stood up and walked to Feng Shuang. Seeing her answering questions, she nodded with satisfaction. Lingyang High School wanted such smart and wise students. Like Class 9, Grade 3. Zhou glanced at Ye Limo next to Feng Shuang, her pupils shrank sharply. How could? Half an hour has passed since the exam time. Ye Limo, who was originally very poor at mathematics in her memory, not only completed 1/3 of the paper, but also had a very high accuracy rate. At a glance, except for a few blank questions, the rest are all correct. How can this be? However, it was not just Ye Limo that shocked Zhou. All the candidates in Class 9 except Fenling were all like this. Although there was still a gap between them, the progress was already visible to the naked eye. But it's only been a month. Zhou sat back down, looking a little dazed. The moment everyone in Class 9 got the test papers, they had no other thoughts but wanted to give them a knee to Brother Feng and Night Demon. In just 1 week, all the test points in all the test papers they took were covered in this test paper. How can I put it this way? I suddenly realized what it feels like to have fun answering questions heartily. In one word, it's great. There is still half an hour before the end of the exam, please take the time to answer the questions. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 77. Chapter 77. If you don't learn, you will know how to do it. A mechanical female voice sounded in the air. Fenling held her head and looked a little sleepy. There was still half an hour left, so she could barely finish it after a while. The girl picked up the pen, glanced at the question, and filled in the answers leisurely. She put the scratch paper aside, very clean. Zhou noticed Fenling's movements and sneered, feeling quite disdainful. It's because she thinks too highly of Class 9, Grade 3, that there is another person filling in the answers blindly. It is estimated that one Fenling can lower the average score of the entire class by 2 or 3 points. At the end of half an hour, Fenling put down the pen after writing the last number, and quietly watched the test paper being taken away. Then he stood up and returned to his seat. She went to the empty desk at the back of the classroom to get her books back. Unlike others, she had to put a pile of books in a designated place during the exam, and had to run up and down at least 2 or 3 times. Feng Ying only had her own books, and a Chinese language book, just for show. For this, others are only envious. You're a bit tough on the question this time. It took Fusu 2 hours to digest it. The brain in the alliance is worthy of being the brain in the alliance, and it can clearly grasp the thoughts of the person who asked the question. Really, Fenling curled her lips, I also think the questions Ye Qinghan and I faced were too difficult. If it were simpler, they would be able to digest and master more in just 1 week. Fenling touched her chin and said, "The question writers in Luo City look down on their own students too much. It's boring to write such a simple question." Shi Xian, who was holding a book and excitedly preparing to announce the good news to Fenling and Fusu. "Boss Feng, if you say that, it will hurt his young heart." "Shi Xian, how did you do in the exam?" Fusu saw Shi Xian, grabbed him by the collar and pulled him in front of him. Shi Xian was a little petrified. He didn't know if it was his imagination. He felt that Boss Fu didn't seem so weak when he came back this time. "Is it still done? How many % is it still?" "Just, can pass." "Can you pass?" Fenling nodded and patted Shi Xian on the shoulder with satisfaction. "Not bad, go ahead." Shi Xian's eyes lit up. With Boss Feng's performance, did he think he had done well in the exam? He was holding the book with a smile on his face, preparing to take on the Chinese language test in the afternoon, when Fenling said, "Shi Xian can pass. It seems that the average score in mathematics is not a big problem this time." "Shi Xian. Boss Feng, I suspect you are trying to understand me. With his scores, he will definitely be among the top 10 in the class." Yelimo glanced at Shi Xian sympathetically, and just got used to it. However, this time the mathematics does not seem to be that difficult. Yelimo held the pen and wanted to review the Chinese language, but her eyes couldn't help but look at Fenling. Fenling had conducted a private attack on her, so she knew better than anyone else that the strength of her deskmate seemed to be far beyond their imagination. The problem-solving ideas Fenling provided her seemed easier to understand than those of all the teachers except Ye Qinghan. While talking, Xianian came over with a book in his arms, and the entire class 9 fell into silence. Fenling held up her phone as if there was no one around. "In 1 hour, the glory battlefield list ends." Yelimo came over curiously and was persuaded by Fenling, "Review carefully and don't embarrass me. You are my disciple." Yelimo. "To be honest, you really don't look like a well-learned hexagram." Her deskmate has the temperament of a boss all over his body, the kind who knows how to do things without learning. A little envious. Yelimo picked up the test paper and chewed it bitterly. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 78. Chapter 78. The sky suddenly turned dark. Fenling received Zhang Chenzi's PK invitation 10 minutes before the end of the event. She has been very busy recently and has not played much games. Zhang Chenzi's points are only one chance to make a comeback. Fenling raised her eyebrows. Although this little heartless kid had no conscience, he was quite smart. He knew that she would not agree, so he issued a barcode for 30,000 gambling capital. It seemed that she could not tolerate her refusal. Fenling agreed, and the glory battlefield became lively again. The number of people watching the PK venue directly exceeded the historical record, almost paralyzing the network. Hong Lian, Huo Yu, with a dark face, organized the whole company to work hard to maintain smooth network. "I can't wait to fly to the little ancestor now, and go to his heirs. The little ancestor is all over the day, and it is uncomfortable not to find something to do something. She doesn't care about her own company, so she just leaves it to her, and she still causes trouble for her outside. If the internet goes down, she will lose her reputation as a good company. Hurry up and see what big thing this little ancestor is doing in the game again." Vice President, President, she is competing with others in the game," the employee replied weakly. Ever since the president became the hands-off shopkeeper, the vice president's temper has really increased exponentially. As soon as he finished thinking about it, the young employee heard a bang. The leg of the table they had just replaced last month broke. She is a great in the esports circle, why would she bully a scumbag when she has nothing to do? Employee. Vice President, this doesn't sound like you are scolding the president. give me the address and I'll go check it out too. The little ancestor of Min Lian can't be bullied. Employee. Vice President, you just said that the person the president beat was a scumbag. Furthermore, this time you enter. The employee trembled and felt that the sky suddenly became dark. Glory battlefield. Everyone had already held the watermelon and was about to eat it, when suddenly they saw a god-level account walking calmly in front of them. Feng Yu. If I'm not mistaken, this god-level account should be the account of the vice president of the founding company of the game. Fiery red hair, a gilt red dress, a curvy figure, and a pair of void fire blades and hell flame wings that are only available in the internal numbers of Balian. All he needs is the words "I am a great god" written on his face. Feng Ling saw Huoyu's trace at a glance, and the corners of her eyes twitched. It was really too eye-catching. Sister Huoyu, why are you here? Feng Ling activated the internal voice. Huoyu, come to help you. Feng Ling, Sister Huoyu, you have to be low-key. Huoyu Zhao, low-key? Does the word low-key have anything to do with you? With your news, my entire company is working overtime to unblock the network for you. Huoyu took a deep breath and said, anyway, you must win for me today. If you don't win, I will kill that little brat. Huoyu looked at Zhang Chenzi's character with fierce eyes. It's very much like a wolf staring at a rabbit's cub. Feng Ling. Seriously, why don't you two just have a fight and just give her 30,000 yuan? Zhang Chenzi was surprised when he saw Huoyu. Huolian had obviously fallen out with them. Why did the vice president of Huolian come in suddenly? Zhang Chenzi clicked the Add Friend button. The next second, a line of text came out: the other party refuses to add you as a friend. At this moment, Zhang Chenzi felt that his face hurt. What does this fire feather mean? Stranger window. Win, Vice President, what do you mean? Feng Jiao, what do you mean? Huoyu found it quite baffling. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 79. Chapter 79 Has the years eaten away your pitiable brain cells? Zhang Chenzi instantly felt angry when he saw Huoyu's attitude. Win, since the vice president has severed all ties with the Zhang family in the game industry, why rush to add heat to me again? Vice president, doesn't he feel that he is slapping himself in the face? Zhang Chenzi feels that Huoyu is extremely hypocritical. Since you can't let go of your own face, why bother showing off? Do you think that the Zhang family is someone who can come and go at a moment's notice? It's really funny. Zhang Shenghua, the grandson's son, has lost his mind. Who wants to look at that pretty boy? Huoyu always had a bad temper, so he called Zhang Shenghua directly and scolded him from the inside out. Zhang Shenghua, you are a grandson. If you don't know how to take care of your son, just find someone else to take care of it for you. You have a child on your neck, his mind is full of whims all day long, and he still jumps in front of my mother every day to show off his brain cells as big as the cracks between fingernails. Do you really think your family started the gaming industry? Let me tell you, if you don't take care of your son, I will make sure that your Zhang family has no place in the gaming industry. Snapped. Zhang Shenghua was scolded for no apparent reason, and before he could speak, the phone was hung up. With a dark face, he picked up the phone at hand and called Zhang Chenzi. Hello, father. Zhang Chenzi was a little surprised why Zhang Shenghua called him at this time, but he didn't expect that the moment he got through, he heard a raging voice from Zhang Shenghua. Zhang Chenzi. Let me tell you, you don't want to be the young master of the Zhang family like some people do. I didn't raise you just to cause trouble for me outside. If there is a next time, don't do this, young master of the Zhang family. You should know who you are. Father, are you the vice president of Minlian? Father, Zhang Chenzi responded with a cold and ruthless beep. Zhang Chenzi had a gloomy face, looking at the charming woman on the screen being held in the moonlight by the stars, and clenched his fists tightly. Fire feather. Win, you are fine. Who are you? I know. Zhang Chenzi. Does this woman have any self-awareness? At the PK arena, Feng Ling watched the two people chatting in boredom, saying, "Shall we still fight?" Ling, it's time to take the exam. Yelimo reminded. I know, you go ahead. Feng Ling raised his head and glanced at Yelimo, showing a scary smile. Take the test well, my close disciple. Yelimo, yes, yes. Although, can she not be a close disciple? It feels like it will be destroyed sooner or later. Then, Ling, don't forget the time. Don't worry, I'll come when I torture someone. Feng Ling said it so calmly that Yelimo always felt her heart trembling when she heard it. I always feel that when Feng Ling talks about abusing a person, it is not as simple as just abusing someone. Juyu, hello, are you still fighting? If you don't hit me, I'm going to take the exam. Everyone. The first nanny in the glory battlefield is a student? Really? Are all students so arrogant now? Let's get started. Zhang Chenzi took a deep breath and focused on the duel. There were still 3 minutes until the end of the event. He must make a quick move in these 3 minutes to get rid of this Juyu. The star player in the glory battlefield can only be a member of his Zhang family. This 9th month is destined to have no weather. It's still too late for you to regret it now. Juyu, did the years swallow up your pitiable brain cells? You looked like a very smart person when you were a child, right? End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 80. Chapter 80. A dog man is a dog. Zhang Chenzi's eyes darkened. Juyu, you will regret it? As soon as the message was sent, a character exactly like the assassin Zhang Chenzi played before appeared in the character box opposite. Zhang Chenzi. Isn't this Juyu a wet nurse? What do you want to do? As soon as I finished thinking about it, 4 words popped up in the dialog box: quick decision. Seems to be quite impatient. Zhang Chenzi, who are you looking down on? Zhang Chenzi's long-term arrogance made it impossible for him to think that he would lose. What's more, as a person who plays nanny, he didn't think that he would suddenly play an assassin. I'm afraid it will only fall even worse. At the beginning of the game, the two people's PK venue was the jungle, the most suitable place for assassins. As soon as Zhang Chenzi landed, he rushed straight in the direction of Feng Ling. It is not difficult at all to kill a novice assassin in 3 minutes. In his field of vision, red clothes flashed. Zhang Chenzi held the hand holding the mouse for a moment, and then controlled the character to go straight to the target. His guess was indeed right. This Juyu doesn't know how to play assassin. Zhang Chenzi pressed the button, slowly brewing a big move, and when he was close to the target, he suddenly released it. White light suddenly appeared, and the corners of the man's mouth slowly raised. Everything is over. At this moment, 2 words suddenly appeared in the chat pop-up window: innocent. Before Zhang Chenzi had time to think about it, he saw a figure flashing out on the right. He could kill with 1 hit and his health bar was exhausted. Total duration, 1 minute. This is impossible. Zhang Chenzi's pupils shrank sharply, looking at the 2 big losers in front of him in disbelief. Lost. He actually lost? Lost to a new assassin? How can this be? Before Zhang Chenzi could accept the reality, another payment code was sent from the other side. Juyu, remember to pay. The cold 5 numbers are very dazzling. With the money in hand, Feng Ling put away her cell phone without any hesitation, put it in her pocket and walked to the examination room. Zhang Chenzi's eyes were fixed on the 2 words Juyu at the top of the list. The keyboard was thrown to the ground and fell into pieces. "Brother Zhang, it's time for the exam." "I know, come right away." Zhang Chenzi walked out of the computer room with a gloomy face. I don't know whether it was good luck or bad luck. The Chinese language test venue arrangement arranged Feng Ling and Zhang Chenzi together. When she saw Zhang Chenzi coming in with a dark face, Feng Ling felt mixed. Is she a little heartless? The blow was too big. Zhang Chenzi walked in and saw Feng Ling staring at him, and instantly felt sick all over. "I do not like you." The invigilator has already walked in. The class is very quiet, and Zhang Chenzi's voice is particularly prominent. He walked up to Feng Ling step by step and said word by word, "So, please don't waste your eyes on me, I will feel sick." "Been hit by someone?" Feng Ling looked at him strangely. "Are you having trouble with your brain?" Feng Ling stretched out her hand and pointed, and the man passing by holding the test paper outside the window looked over telepathically. Seeing his child confidently holding out his belly, he said, "I see Yeking Han's face every day. Why do you think I would be interested in you?" Everyone would choose Yeking Han or Zhang Chenzi. Although that dog man is a dog, he is very attractive. Zhang Chenzi. As Sister Huo Yu said, pretty boys are everywhere in the streets. Feng Ling expressed her true feelings, and it was obvious that she really disliked Zhang Chenzi. Out the window, Yeking Han touched his face and suddenly felt that it was good to look like this. Although it was a bit annoying, the children liked it. End of this chapter.